guys? It's Ilson 4K, and we're kicking off this month-long special in October, of course, of horror movies that take place on Halloween, or as I'm calling them during this, Horror-Ween movies. Yes, Horror-Ween movies. We're going to start this off right with a movie that actually has a sequel coming out this year and is taking place on Halloween. And I'm not talking about Halloween Ends, actually. I'm talking about Terrifier 2. For those of you who don't know, Terrifier 2 is coming out October 6th on the Thursday, which means it's coming out this Thursday when I release this video on October 1st. I'm currently on the email list to get tickets. Hopefully you can get tickets if you didn't already. Check out Terrifier 2 website. I want to see this movie do good. It's one night only. Anyway, moving onward and upward, or maybe I should say downward, because this is a fucking disturbing movie. Terrifier 1 is a movie that takes place on Halloween night and features one of the most unique and fresh takes on slasher films to come out, not just in its execution and ability, but on the fact that its main slasher villain is ridiculously iconic and has been in previous movies before this one. Which brings me to the point that the craziest thing about Terrifier is, not only is it just unique and fresh, it's living proof that you can have a good idea and have a good idea come over in multiple reiterations before you finally bring it to where you want it to be, which is what happened with this movie. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Art the Clown, who is one of the most fucked up serial killers you've ever seen in a one-night murderous spree on Halloween, giving everybody who's in the genre a run for their money. And furthermore, we're going to talk about how this movie was actually crowdsourced and made. So make sure you stick around, guys. This is the first movie in the Horror-Ween special on my YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. Okay, so we're starting off this Horror-Ween stuff pretty hardcore with this movie Terrifier. Terrifier comes from the mind of Damien Leone, and this movie's entire existence is living proof that perseverance and slowly building an idea over time through multiple iterations versus rushing it out the gate to where you want to get it is always the route to choose when making any art in any medium. Originally, this film was released in 2011 as a short film under the same name, Terrifier. From there, that short movie was actually incorporated into the anthology series called All Hallows Eve, also released in 2013. And quite honestly, that's a movie that you need to see and is equally as awesome and well done as this full-length feature, in my opinion, and I will be reviewing it on my channel for the Horror-Ween special, so make sure you check it out. So, isn't it kind of crazy how Terrifier ultimately comes from an anthology? I know it's kind of early in the month, but you're going to learn as this goes on. Anthologies are kind of a big part of this whole Horror-Ween thing. We have Trick or Treat. We have another one that I'm not going to spoil because I want to see it later on. Trick or Treat is an obvious one. We have Halloween. But isn't it crazy to think that all of these are anthology films? And technically speaking, if you want to get nuts about it, because they attempted to make Halloween an anthology series, Michael Myers is technically from an anthology series, if you want to get technical about it, that never broke away from the main story ever again. So I think it's really unique that the whole affair with these Halloween night anthology movies that either have an anthology or were part of an anthology before they had their own reiteration and came out on Halloween night, it's just so unique and crazy that this is just a reoccurring affair and just a little spooky, right? It's not just me. But when did this Terrifier become the main Terrifier? In 2015, Leone launched a campaign on the crowdfunding website Indiegogo to hopefully finance Terrifier as a full-feature spin-off of All Hallows Eve. After being notified of this campaign, filmmaker Phil Falcone flew in the big bucks and necessary funds provided to make the project happen, as long as he was provided with producer credit. And you know, I gotta say, while it's really great, I mean, it's awesome that he went out there and he never gave up on this vision and this dream and his ability to make this character come to life, putting it through countless reiterations before it finally got to where it was, including re-releasing the name of the movie Terrifier twice, which probably wasn't very fun to deal with through his own copyrights and affairs. But let's just think about the movie he made here. He got people to crowdfund this. What the hell is wrong with all of us for doing this? I would have donated to this if I knew about it. Oh God, yeah. I donate to that crap all the time. I have no problem with that. But Jesus Christ, Art the Clown is one of the most sick and depraved individuals I've ever seen in a slasher villain series, and we're gonna go over why he's just completely out of his mind. All right, so after talking about how crazy and wild this goddamn movie is and how disturbing it is and hyping it up, I guess it's time I eventually get to the one thing you gotta know, the plot. Trying to keep spoilers from going, but it's a pretty straightforward movie that doesn't need a whole lot of spoiling. So it starts with a TV watching where a talk show host named Monica Brown is now interviewing what looks like a woman who had her face chewed up like bubblegum and is actually the sole survivor of a massacre that just took place last year on Halloween. The host mentions the body of the killer, only known as Art the Clown, as I've mentioned, has vanished from the morgue, and it seems that the guy might still be alive, because after all he goes through when you see this, that's saying a lot. This disfigured woman insists that she saw him die and perish, however. Now, the individual watching this television decides to put his foot through it and shatters it into pieces and starts filling a garbage bag with some of the most devastatingly painful objects I think I've ever seen in my life. You see, after the interview, Monica talks to her boyfriend on the phone, the host, Monica, and makes a whole bunch of fucked up remarks about the interviewee that she was just having because of how she looks, having her face maimed by Art the Clown. After this woman hangs up, the disfigured woman who was just on the phone with her before jumps out of her wardrobe and decides to gouge her eyes out, seemingly killing her and laughing the whole time. So yeah, that's how the movie starts out. It's pretty nuts. But it doesn't get any fucking calmer after this. If anything, it just ramps right up. Halloween night, the two friends, known as Tara and Dawn, decide that they're done at a Halloween party and are fucking slammed drunk. And they decide they notice a strange guy in a clown costume on the way back to the car. The man, who is of course Art the Clown, then stalks them into a pizzeria, and after a little bit, the restaurant owner actually escorts Art from the premises because he's sitting in there and bothering the shit out of her. Owner goes in there and discovers that Art has smeared feces all over the place, and it's disgusting as he kicks Art out, and it's pretty gross, the actual scene. From there, the two girls leave, and as soon as Art is seen again by the pizza man, it's after the individual who was cleaning in the bathroom has come out and found his manager's head cut off and disfigured, and it's used as a jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, it's pretty goddamn intense. So anyway, there's a jack-o'-lantern being used as a guy's head, and then it cuts to the two girls again, Tara and Dawn, and it basically shows them for the rest of this movie trying to run away from Art the Clown, who is now stalking them as he has slashed their tires and left them stranded. They end up inside of this abandoned warehouse where it basically turns into the battle royale, and we see some fucked up things happen to people. Tara's friend Dawn really gets the worst half of things. If you know the pun there, you get it. It's just one of those movies that is fucking insane. The entire thing is basically climaxed by the fact that at the end, one of the individuals that Art kills inside of this warehouse is of course a worker, male, and ends up just saving the day a little bit, and the cops come. I gotta be quite honest with you, the whole movie just happens so fast, so intensely. So now that I've explained this movie, I guess if I had to explain it any further and ask a question, it would be, what the fuck is this movie? What is this movie? This movie is absolute insanity. This movie has the intense visuals and isolation feel of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but somehow makes it take place in a city where everybody interacts with everybody, and it's just so well written and executed to the point where, you know, there's a desolate warehouse in the middle of Halloween and pizza men are getting killed, and it's just fucking nuts, man. People's head used as jack-o'-lanterns, but it's just very well done. It's one of my favorite horror movies, easily. I'm really excited for the sequel, which I can't wait to see. But again, just what the fuck was this movie? It was just like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on steroids in the middle of a city, and just the way Art the Clown does that whole, thing where he wears the woman that he killed hair and her tits and starts dancing around and shit. It's just also uncomfortable and awesome at once. Just the visualization of that woman being I don't know, man. It's just, what the fuck was this movie? As for who played Art, there's actually a few iterations depending on which movie you're talking about. In The Ninth Circle, yes, The Ninth Circle, I have to talk about this briefly. The Ninth Circle was the first ever showing of Art the Clown in a 2008 short film by Damien Leone, and it is very, very scary, and it is definitely a great place to see where all of this started. But anyway, in The Ninth Circle, in the short film Terrifier, the old release, and All Hallows Eve, Art was played by Mike Gianelli. But in the feature film Terrifier, Art was actually played by a guy named David Howard Thornton. Thornton was already familiar with All Hallows Eve, as he originally auditioned for the role of Art in the Terrifier earlier release, and was cast after improvising a kill scene in the new movie, which is actually pretty impressive to get a spot from a guy who did it 3 times in a row, all because of that. I always wonder if there's a little bit more behind that. But yeah, isn't it crazy that Art the Clown actually showed up originally in 2008, and people have been portraying him since then? It is over 13 years now. Wow. Overall, I have to say this movie was just amazing. I'm a huge fan of it. Everything about it was just very unique and well done. Suppose some of the acting leaves a little bit to be desired here and there, but it's very scarce and not bad at all. It's not unbearable. The movie is far from campy as possible. It's absolutely upside down batshit mayhem when it absolutely goes off. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, not to sound cliche, it gets a lot crazier. Everything is well written and done. Execution of practical effects is wonderful. I don't even know if there's any CGI in this film, to be quite honest with you, but the gore is over the top. Everything that Art the Clown does, his mannerisms, he's just as funny as he is terrifying without ever talking. He behaves like a real clown would behave, with a murderous tendency that doesn't talk, almost more of a mime if you really want to talk about what he is and the colors and the getup. But again, a fantastically well done movie. Shout out to Damien Leone for making something so cool and never giving up on the dream and the vision, which is what all of us are about. Whether you make YouTube videos or you make movies or you make music, that's what it's all about. And that's why this movie is really awesome, because it's just so good. And I really can't stress enough how thankful I am you all joined me to take a look at this movie from top to bottom. Everything from how good the movie was, why it was made, who played Art the Clown. It was a really good time explaining it to you. It's the first movie in my Horror-Ween special, so make sure you stick around and like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to check everything out. I will also be talking about the other movie that what's his name is in. Why can't I remember his name? Oh, Art the Clown is in. All Hallows Eve. We'll be talking about that. Absolutely checking that out this month. We'll also be trying to check out some of the earlier films if I can find them. I've never seen them, so it's going to be a first for me. And again, I will definitely be reviewing Terrifier 2 this Thursday and a whole bunch of other movies, including Halloween. I'm not going to spoil anything. Make sure you catch me on twitch.tv/ilsun4k for the total Terror-thon Thursdays at 9 p.m. every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Catch me streaming horror games all month. Also, don't forget to check me out on the late night Saturday Spooktacular Fest. I don't even know what I'm calling it, but when I come up with a better name, we'll call it that. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see you there, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you stay tuned for more Horror-Ween special, and I can't wait to check it all out with you guys. Take care. It's Ilsun4K.